The Quran presents a startling premise. The life you are living right now is an illusion, a temporary, high-stakes examination room. The true purpose of our time on Earth is a rigorous test of conduct, and eventually, the physical world fades away entirely. To pass any exam, you need a syllabus. The Quran defines itself as that exact document, an infallible, fully detailed guide. It states clearly that it is complete on its own, explicitly warning against dividing the religion with man-made sects or fabricated sayings. Translators and scholars highlight a physical proof of the text's divine origin, a deeply embedded mathematical code based on the number 19. It acts as a built-in security system. Because of this intricate mathematical system, the text is flawlessly preserved. If anyone in history attempted to add or subtract even a single letter from the original revelation, the underlying base 19 algorithm would be broken, and the tampering would be instantly rejected. The very first rule of this test is that you must use your intellect. Humans are endowed with reason, and the text strictly condemns those who blindly follow the idolatrous traditions of their ancestors, without observing the signs in nature and thinking critically for themselves. Because it relies on intellect, freedom of belief is a strict requirement. The Quran states, "There shall be no compulsion in religion." A test of the mind is only valid if the student is entirely free to choose their own answer. The text presents a logically protected, self-verifying document. It demands rigorous critical thinking and free choice from the reader before the exam can even begin. The absolute center of this curriculum is Tawheed, or strict monotheism. The Creator, Allah, is defined as the One, the Eternal, the maker of the heavens and the earth, entirely without equal. Consequently, the ultimate failure condition of the test is shirk, associating partners with the Creator. If maintained until death, it is identified as the most severe and unforgivable sin, a direct denial of God's exclusive sovereignty. This strict monotheism carries over to how it views figures from previous scriptures. Jesus, the Messiah, is described as a noble human messenger and a word from God, created simply by the divine command, be. The text explicitly refutes the concepts of a trinity or divine sonship. To show how this test plays out, the Quran relies heavily on historical case studies. It explains that humanity was once a single community, and this exact same exam has been administered repeatedly through a succession of human messengers sent to every nation. Abraham serves as the archetype of pure monotheism. He questioned his people's idol worship, broke their statues, and survived being thrown into a fire which was miraculously made safe for him. Afterward, he established the sanctuary of the Kaaba and instituted the rites of pilgrimage. But a recurring conflict emerges in these accounts, perfectly illustrated by Moses. Messengers arrive with clear, undeniable proofs, only to be rejected by wealthy, arrogant elites, like Pharaoh, who refuse to submit out of pure pride. The inevitable result of this rejection is divine retribution. Natural disasters, massive floods, furious storms, parted seas, and devastating earthquakes destroy the disbelievers. This cycle culminates with Muhammad, sent as a mercy to mankind, serving as the final warning and the seal of the prophets. Human history isn't treated as a random sequence of events. It is a highly documented, repeating cycle, continuously demonstrating the catastrophic consequences of human arrogance and the absolute necessity of submitting to the Creator. Belief must be coupled with action. True righteousness is defined not by empty rituals, but by a comprehensive framework of ethical and social conduct. The text establishes clear physical boundaries for daily life. Believers are commanded to perform regular prayers, fast during the month of Ramadan, and give obligatory charity. It also lays down strict dietary laws, specifically prohibiting the consumption of carrion, blood, and the flesh of swine. This graphic illustrates the severe financial ethics commanded by the text. On one side, we see fair business practices and written debts represented by a balanced scale. On the other, an exploitative economic practice, usury, or compounding interest. The text strictly prohibits this, warning that those who consume interest are effectively waging war against God. That financial strictness is tied directly to social justice. The Quran firmly secures property and inheritance rights for women and orphans. It places immense emphasis on the home, mandating that believers treat their parents with the utmost kindness and respect, especially in old age. The standard for justice is entirely uncompromising. Believers are commanded to stand firmly for the truth, even if it requires testifying against themselves, their own parents, or their closest relatives. Personal piety and strict economic and social justice are permanently linked. A society cannot pass the divine exam if it exploits its most vulnerable members. But the exam has a strict time limit. A pervasive theme in the Quran is the impending day of resurrection, a sudden event where the physical world will violently end. The sky will shatter, the earth will be leveled, and mountains will crumble to dust. On that day, the final evaluation begins. Every human soul will be resurrected and handed a complete, inescapable record of their earthly deeds. Everything is accounted for. The standard applied is absolute justice. The text promises that not an atom's weight of injustice will be done. No soul will bear the burden of another, and no intercession will be permitted to save anyone, except for those moved by the Creator. For those who failed the test, those who denied the truth, spread corruption, and acted with arrogant injustice, the final destination is stark. They face the terrifying and lasting punishment of hellfire, enduring garments of fire, boiling water, and freezing hail. Conversely, those who believed and worked righteousness will inherit eternal gardens beneath which rivers flow. They will be adorned with silk and gold, enjoy abundant provision, and experience ultimate peace and acceptance from Allah. The Quran strips away the illusion of worldly life to present a self-verifying blueprint of the universe, leaving every human with a stark choice to use their reason and submit before time runs out.